Alright, what's up, y'all? We're back, and of course, I want to go real quick into just elaborating a little bit further into what I talked about at the end of the last video. Of course, excuse me. Certain things that I had actually omitted from the last video, particularly just were things that I had actually heard about, but honestly, the more that I think about it, I guess I'm kind of at a loss, just that anything along these lines would be happening. But I'm just going to go ahead and read a quote from John Moxley that I'm sure you guys have already heard by now. And of course, he said, earlier this year I heard somebody, a backstage type person, talking about interviews, the pre-tapes or something. It was a situation where talents were not put in a position to succeed due to, lack of preparation and framework and direction and things like that. Now, that's not necessarily the full quote, because a lot of what Mox had to say was, it was actually rather heated, to say the least. And of course, I gotta say, it actually makes sense. Just knowing that there are actually people backstage that literally, just based on the quote alone, it sounds a little bit like sabotage to me to some degree. Now, I'm not trying to make any sort of conspiracy theories or anything like that. That's not the kind of direction that I want to go with any of my content, but I just find it really, really wild that it's even a thing, for really just the fact that you've had so much of the tribalism between both sides that, I really think that it's actually mucked a lot of things up in terms of, I don't know, I guess maybe how the IWC is perceived at times, even though in some cases it's deserved, depending on who you're talking about. But for me, it's just really, really hard to believe that it's actually been a thing. And of course, now that we're seeing this whole Death Riders bit, just the fact that it's been referred to as something of a restart, just having to remove people from the equation like that. It's just kind of weird, because it kind of feels as if it's similar to how Vince was removed from power. And obviously that's been the best thing that could have happened, not just for WWE, but for wrestling as a whole. And in all honesty, I just hope that with this being the case, this will be not just a sign of better things to come, but hopefully this just means that everything backstage, like, I just think back to things like the whole Brawl Out situation where CM Punk was involved, and the fact that they actually aired the footage from that, I guess to sort of bury Punk. Like, that's the type of shit that absolutely has to go. I'm glad that it has, and I can't say anything more about that, but just on the note of things that have to go, we got to talk about Jonathan Coachman here. I'm going to just put it as simple as this. Who the fuck are his supposed sources? That's really all I need to know on that. Because it's been talked about before. I've talked about it here as well, just specifically with the whole Becky Lynch situation. Is she re-signing? Is she going to go to AEW? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't know how he knows any better than anyone else with that. Any one of us, for that matter. It actually blows my mind that this is the case. But outside of that, for me, it's just wild that he even has any sort of insight on a situation involving Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair to where apparently they don't get along. Hell, he's even gone as far, and this is an actual quote, as he's gone as far as saying, I've also heard that Jade and Bianca Belair do not get along at all. It's from reliable sources. Okay, they don't get along. Bianca's already been to the main event, so you're asking her to give somebody the rub. Of course she's gonna be pissed off. She makes her own gear. Jade doesn't make her own gear. Do you see how that could lead to something? So the fact that one person makes their own gear and the other person doesn't is an issue between two professionals. Like, to me, this just blows my mind on so many levels that he's even actually putting anything like this out there. Like, again, bringing up Vince McMahon, he's actually one of the people I feel like was actually, I guess, closest to Vince to some degree. I don't know. But either way, just the fact that he's gone from WWE, actually worked for ESPN, was on SportsCenter for a couple of years or so. I don't remember how long his tenure there was. But the fact that he's gone from that, you know, and actually left because he was a part of what was also known to be a toxic work environment at ESPN, and I guess apparently a cause of it. Gee, I wonder where he learned that from. But just going from that, having been back in WWE since, and I'm thinking having been removed again from WWE and somehow is still on Madden games somehow. I don't know how that's worked. Anyway, that's really neither here nor there. I guess they've been good enough to actually give him something of a job, but it just, again, blows my mind that he's even out here putting that sort of... I don't know. I can't with this anymore, but why? All I can say is why are we even talking about this motherfucker like this? And that's all I got on that. We're going to move right along into better, bigger, and better things, most certainly and most literally. And I want to talk about Brock here, obviously, just because, well, he's actually been brought up a lot as a potential comeback is perhaps in the works. I mean, do we really have to have this be brought up so many times, regardless of who it is that's bringing it up? I mean, let's just have it happen already. If he's actually been cleared of all the shit that happened with the Janelle Grant case, God, there's too much Vince reference in this video, but anyway, if he's been cleared of that, let's just get him back. Let's get him set, make the plans. I mean, I don't know why we need to talk about it this much, though. Let's let that shit breathe. Whatever they're working out behind the scenes on that, leave that to Trips and them. It doesn't really matter. I just know that it's going to be cool if and when we do get him back, because it would definitely inject some life. Not that it's necessarily needed, but it would be great. Raw's going to Netflix. Why not bring Brock back? Especially in time for that. But until then, let's leave all the stuff about Brock alone already. I mean, enough is enough. But anyway, last thing I'm going to go into here, big news. WWE has actually signed former NFL cornerback Trill Williams to a deal on a WWE ID program, which has actually been specifically designed and intended to pick, or for bringing in more talent from the indie scene. And of course they focused on Olympians, college athletes, and so forth. Of course, i.e. Oh God, I hate when I struggle with the names. Kalani Jordan and a few others, but this one's interesting because this is one that's coming from the NFL. Of course, Tate Ledger had a shot at being in the NFL, but he chose to go right into WWE, and of course, him and Hank are in a pretty entertaining tag team on NXT. But this is really interesting because, you know, just the fact that he's on the WWID program. I mean, normally this would have been someone they'd have just brought directly into NXT. You know, he'd already be in the class, but it's pretty cool to see. Of course, had a couple of knee injuries, and that brought an abrupt end to his career, unfortunately. But it's cool that he's actually finding something new, and you can't go wrong with it being the WWE. I hope it's something that actually does work out for him. I'd love for him to be very, very successful in this venture, and hell, anything that he chooses to do. But if he's gonna be WWE bound, then hopefully he's able to make the most of it, and they do everything they can with him. I think that's about all you can ask, not only of WWE for him, but anybody that they should bring along through this program, and if they bring him in directly to go to NXT or whatever the case may be. But that's pretty much all I got on that one. Y'all know what it is. Let me know what y'all think down below. Like, share, subscribe, and something else that I want to do a little differently here. Pardon me as I do this, because I'm obstructing my own view of this. But, of course, this is something that I want to do differently here. Shout out to my 2 newest subscribers, and Nelson LaChapelle, hopefully I'm saying that right, and John Urbanic. Hopefully I'm not butchering those 2 badly. Please let me know. Feel free if I have, but welcome aboard. Thanks for coming along, and as always, I'm going to shout out all the new subscribers every chance I get. So, you know, hopefully I get so many of y'all. I can't shout y'all out all at once, but just wanted to take the opportunity to do that, and I'm out.